every day.
And I think we're live. Hi, everyone. Dan Bauman here on with the Designer Show. Good morning, good afternoon to wherever you guys are.
Yeah, every day.
Yeah,
We're late every day.
Yeah, we are late today. We were just playing with some things that made us late today. Although that never happens in Chief. You know, I'm always right on time with all of my Chief plans. Yeah, right. Anyway, hi everyone. I'm glad. Thanks for being here. And we're going to talk more Chiefs things today. I'm on with John and Renee. Welcome, you guys. Robin couldn't be here with us today. She is in the throes of her son's wedding this weekend. So as you can imagine, she's got a lot going on. So
congratulations, Robin.
Yes, we wish her well, and we wish her son well too. So it's always a lot of work. Anyway, cool. We got people from all over the place. Welcome, welcome. And don't hesitate to ask your questions as we get going here. All right. So I'm in sunny Minnesota, where it's actually quite beautiful today. It's in the low 80s, and we got gypped out of our rain last night. They said we were going to get, so that kind of sucked. But other than that, it's really beautiful out here. John, you're up north, or where are you today?
Yep, I'm at home.
You're at home?
I'm gonna step away just for a minute and take this phone call.
Okay, cool. And Renee, you're in your living room in sunny California.
Yeah. Dining room. I got a quiz for you later. So important to note, it's the dining room. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. All right. We'll wait for John to come back. You guys, if you have questions, be sure to enter them into the dialogue. We're going to talk about some Chief features today, some new features. So if you are on the show page, you should be sure to go ahead and share my screen. Be sure to get on here and download the PDF update, and then you can also view what's new on the Chief Architect page. So we're going to talk about a few new things today. Nothing too dramatic. We're going to talk about some new features, and Renee's going to. Well, last time we talked a little bit about plan views, and I gave my take on plan views, and Renee's got a little bit different spin on it. So Renee, you're going to get your chance today to talk about your spin on how you use plan views and how you don't use default sets. So I think that's kind of the big difference between how you and I operate, which both ways are right. I don't think there's any wrong way to do that as long as it gets the results that you're looking for. I think someone had a question last time about, I'm doing this and this. Is that the right way to do it? And my answer was, does it work for you? And he said, yes. And then, yeah, that's the right way to do it.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
There's a lot of that going on in Chief. All right. So be sure to check that out. Check out, don't really have a lot of new things happening at Chief Experts. Working hard on the updating the Pro Academy. So you're going to see some new things coming on that. And then we've got some events that we'll be letting you guys know about soon. So, keep an eye on it. We got some fun things coming. Okay, Robin's not going to be, oops, I forgot to update this on our show page. Sorry. Anyway, let's move forward here. Let's start out with the wheel of icons. This is something I've been playing with a little bit because there's, 1,200 icons in Chief Architect. How do you go about explaining them all? So let's do it this way. Let's just have some fun, and we're going to explain one icon right now, but I'm going to spin the wheel and we'll see what comes up. All right. So here's our wheel of icons, and we are going to talk about that icon, explode block. All right. That is the right one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What is explode block? All right. So let's talk about what a block is. So a block is a group of items put together. It could be CAD items. It could be furniture. It could be whatever you want. So if I took a bunch of lines, and you can actually block one line if you want to, just by highlighting it and holding your shift key down, and you'll get this icon down here to create a CAD block. All right. If you're grouping furniture and things like that, you're going to create an architectural block. If you're grouping windows and doors, you're mulling them together. That's a mold block, I guess you call it. Anyway, let's group those CAD lines together. Now you'll notice when we have an icon here, it's not the same colors, but I might have put the wrong icon. There's your explode block icon. Okay, so if you click on that, it won't be a block anymore. It'll be back to the individual CAD lines. Now let's just take that one. Do we want to take that one step further? How you edit a CAD block?
Sure.
Okay, we'll go one step further. You'll see another little icon blowing apart with a pencil on it. All right, this is something they added, I think, in X13. You can edit the CAD block. You can edit the items that are in the CAD block without exploding it. So if you click on that, it's going to open a new tab. You'll know what it says up here. It says CAD block window 1. All right, so there's those CAD lines, and now I can work on them. I could edit them. I could add items to this. I could add text to this. I'm going to display the text here though. And I could, so there you go. So I can edit this all day long. When I close this window, what do you want to do with this now? Okay, remember, I never exploded the block. I'm just editing the block. Now I want to save it. Okay, so I'm going to save the edits I did in that. And you're going to get another screen that says, oh, let's say I changed an outlet in my plan, the CAD block that is an outlet to a different size, or I added something to it, I could update just the one I changed, just that CAD block. Or if I have a whole bunch of outlets in my plan, I could update them all at once. Okay, just by clicking that. So I'll just click only this instance. Actually, I said that backwards, but you get the idea. There you go. So there's my changes. It's still a CAD block. I'm good to go.
So I saw that when you opened that to edit it, it put it into a CAD detail. Did it stay in the CAD details? Is it still in the CAD detail?
No, it doesn't put it in a CAD detail.
It just opens it up in a CAD detail, but it doesn't put it in there.
It opens it up in a tab.
Well, that's a CAD detail sign right there at the end of it, though.
Oh, by golly, it is. But it doesn't put it in the CAD detail, though.
Okay.
I don't know why it does that. I don't think that's not my deal.
Yeah, that's just a CAD block.
Yeah. So,
Right. But
so if you got into CAD block
icon as a
management,
CAD detail on the tab, right? Or was there something I can't see?
well,
go to CAD
yeah.
block management.
Okay. So it is putting in the CAD detail management category, but it's not actually putting it in the CAD detail. So
Okay.
why, I don't know, John. You got me on that one.
All righty.
All right. The icon was red. It's different than explode with all blue. I don't know why it was a different color. Do you know why it was a different color? I'm going to preface this by saying, or I'll conclude this by saying that spinner wheel, I just dumped a bunch of icons in there. I didn't even look at what they all were. So next time we'll be certain to know we have the right icons.
By the seat of our pants.
Yeah. There are over 1,200 icons in Chief Architect now. So we'll have some fun with that. Okay, let's move forward here. And last week we talked about these different things: predictive feedback, CAD layer defaults, library scoping, copy paste, explode bay windows, resize cabinet higher, many dimensions. I'm not going to just go over that. Then we talked a bunch about plan views. This week, let's talk about these few things. Layer painter scoping. Actually, I think I did talk about that last week. Let me make you dizzy by going in and out here a lot. But let's just review that real quick. What is that layer painter scoping? So if I go into a 3D view, and by the way, when you get your PDF downloaded from the page,
Hey, you know what? Someone made a comment, and they're absolutely right. You did a CAD block, but the symbol that was on this spin the wheel symbol was an architectural block.
Oh,
and the architectural block is any kind of symbol class block together.
Same concept.
Yeah, it's a good point though.
Thank you for correcting that. Yep, obviously I did get that. Well, see, we're all learning here, All right, let me get back to where I was. Where was I? I was going to my PDF. I had clicked on something and my screen froze there for a second. So here's your PDF that you're going to get when you download it. All right. So when I go in here, the layer painting scoping. So when you want to replace individual items on things, and again, I think I covered this last week, but let me just do it again real quick. Get into Chief here. Oh, Chief crashed on me. Oh, weird.
It was that wheel spinner thingy that caused it.
Maybe. I've been having my share of issues with my computer. So I just updated my drivers yesterday, so hopefully that'll take care of everything else. All right. So back to this. Yeah, that crashed when I did a 3D view. Hope that doesn't continue. It's not the wheel picker thing that's causing it. All right, so we've got a piece of hardware here. Let's find a cabinet that's got multiple hardware on it. So we've got this, and it's got 3 different handles on it. I could go to my library and I could go to, let's go search for a handle. I know I did cover this, but I'll cover it one more time. It's really cool. So I did that barn door handle. I'll do the same thing. So when I click on that library and I drag it and I come to my screen, you see it turns into a different icon. And you want to look at these icons down here in the bottom left corner now. Okay, so what happens when I click on this doorknob here, or this knob here? If I leave it set to C, that stands for component. It'll only replace that one item. If I click on O for the object, it'll replace all of the same kind of items on the entire cabinet. R is for room, S is for floor, F is for floor, P is for the entire plan. Okay, and this is the icon that we're looking at to replace items in our plan. So that's what'll happen. So if I just click on one thing, it's going to replace that one handle. Well, I guess the doors are one thing in this plan, but it didn't replace that. So if I were to hit undo, this time I hit object and I click on that handle. So it's going to replace all the handles on the object. It should have replaced that one too, shouldn't it have?
Unless it's different.
Oh, it's different because it's at a different angle.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what's different about it. If I do the entire room, all of the handles up and down in the room will change. Okay, see, they're all changing. So I would have to, do you like my handles? Floor and plan. So that's how that works. Nice feature. You could do that with different things. You can also replace, if you have 6. Oh, I did the bar stool thing last week too. I think if you have a bunch of bar stools and you want to replace them all at once, use the same tool. And that works really well. Let's merge collinear walls. This is actually a feature that I'm pretty excited about because that drives me nuts. So when we go into our defaults, okay, you go into your defaults and we go to walls and we click on the general wall defaults. All right. There's a new little button down here that says auto merge collinear walls. What the hell does that mean? Well, let's turn it back on. I'll show you what that means. All right. So when I draw a wall in my plan, you ever done this where you draw a wall and you want to break it and you want to make some of it framing and some of it not framing or something like that? So when you break the wall and then you click on something and open its dialog box and then you close it, the wall all snaps back to one big wall. All right, drives me nuts. All right, so this new feature in Chief, I can turn this on now. General wall, auto merge, done. Now I can break the wall and it will not hook itself back up. So now when I open up the dialog for the box, for the wall, I mean, and I make changes to it, I do something a little bit where I'm not really changing the wall much. I'm just doing something. And I close it, it'll stay broken. I can even, move where the walls join and I can join it back up here and it will stay broken. Okay, so this is kind of nice for framing. Like say I'm going to frame in a doorway, for example, and I want to just do framing in part of the wall. So I want to do this and I just want to frame that piece right there. And I'll just say no. So when I switch to my framing plan now just that part of the wall is framed. So that's a nice new feature that I can do with that. Now, if I want to hook it all back up in one wall, no problem. Turn that collinear thing auto join off, and you can do that back.
But that would join all your walls back together. Is there any way that you can
not
join this one
only if you jiggle them?
Only if you jiggle them.
Yes.
Is that a technical Chief?
That's a CAD term in Chief. Yeah, jiggle. No, I made that up. And jiggling means you click on a point and so even if you just click on a point or you move it a little bit or you open the dialog and closing it, you're kind of jiggling. So you're reactivating Chief's ability to snap things together. And so that's what that is.
So the answer to this question is no.
No. Yeah.
Be a per item feature instead of global. No. So get your stuff done. As long as you know you're not going to go back in and touch your walls at all, turn it off.
The other thing about it, once you've done the framing, it won't join back together either.
I don't know about that.
It won't change the framing.
It won't change the framing.
Better, but it won't change the framing.
Correct. It won't change the framing.
And if you, the way I've done it in the past is you just go in and you break the wall and you make that a copy of the other wall. And now you got two different wall types. So it will stay broken then.
Yeah. So here, yeah. See, I opened and closed the dialog and it all joined back up again. But that framing stayed the same. That didn't change.
Right.
So if I were to look at the framing in this plan now, I would see just that little piece of wall framed in. Oh, messed up my plate still. Oh, there's a bug that Chief needs to know about. Interesting. What happens if I open up this? Oh, there it is. Huh.
That's weird.
Oh, we got one for Chief to look into.
Yep.
All right. So I like that little feature. So simple little thing, but really a nice thing when you're dealing with walls that keep snapping back together and you don't want them to. Shutter enhancements. It's a silly, stupid thing, but we do have the ability to do more with shutters now. So if I were to click on a window, open its dialog, and I go to the shutter option, I can use louvered. And now I've got a few more options here where I can have the louver. This is nice to be able to do the louver size. You've never been able to do that before. So now I can actually adjust the louver size. I can show the louvers closed and open. I can reverse the directions of the louver. I can, a lot of these things are still the same, but just those silly things. Because yeah, sometimes I'll work on a plan and it's like, yeah, I want to use louvers, so now I got to go to the library, find one, or this will just do fine, and that'll work really well. Do you guys do much for louver or shutters on yours?
I have two free symbol. Actually, one's free, one's paid. One free symbol on my site that is a door with a security door, and the security door is a shutter.
Oh,
so yeah, kind of clever. I'm
I
glad that they gave us some additional options. The other one is using a door as what looks like an operable window.
Okay.
So you can open and shut.
Yeah, the door. Yeah, you can make a shutter door.
And I'm using 100% shut shutter to create the sash profile from the manufacturer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Merge display control of shutters, louver size for shutters. Yeah. So simple little things. Shoe plates for roof overbuild. Yeah, is this a big deal? Yeah, maybe, maybe not. So when you have a roof, say you're doing a remodel and you're going to add an addition to your plan. All right. And when you frame this roof, you want to put a shoe plate down on top of the existing roof. I've tried to do this in the past because I wanted to show it in my framing. And it's like, it's really hard to do because you have to use a roof plan.
I've been asking for this forever.
Yeah. So now all we have to do is, let's switch to the framing view, and we go into where was this again? Yeah, go into the roof dialog and you go under the structure, and it's right down here at the bottom of structure, roof over framing. Okay. So overframe to the roof finish, the sheathing, or the framing.
Well, that's
so if you just want to put those on top of the sheathing, do that. So then when I click OK, and you notice I just did it to those two. I didn't do it to the whole plan. And now when I frame those two roof planes, because it's an addition, and it'll put those roof right there, those plates on right there. So that is really quite nice because this is the way a lot of people do that. So if I bring this up, there they are. Like I say, doing those any other way, I tried it and it's virtually impossible. Well, it should not virtually. Well, now, although now with solids, it would be a little easier, but this is much easier. Just clicking a button. I like that.
Does that replace the truss base option?
No. That's just something for hand framing.
Okay.
Well, actually, yeah, I don't know what would happen with the truss base.
Yeah,
thing.
I guess you'd have to try it.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to get into that right now.
Nope.
Truss bases have always been real flaky for me. I've never been able to put a definitive, this is exactly what you have to do to make the truss base work. I've gotten close, but it still is flaky depending on the plan. All right, let's go back here. Next item I had on my list was frieze board per wall. All right, you ever had a house where you didn't want frieze board on a few walls? Couldn't do it unless you opened the lock layer for frieze boards and turned it off there. And then of course you couldn't do your frieze board anymore. Now you just click on a wall, open its dialog box, and under the roof tab, you have a new thing to include or not include the frieze board. So that's under the roof tab. So that's kind of like turning the base on and off for an individual wall. So it's just really all you're doing is you're telling, when Chief puts that frieze board on there, which is a molding polyline, you're just telling Chief not to put a 3D item on that piece of molding polyline. So that works pretty well. Let's see what else we got. Come on, computer. Okay. Framing per wall options. Let's go to the PDF for that. There's a bunch of things there. Okay. Wall plates per time. The number of wall plates you can have, the cut length of the wall plates you can specify, maximum king studs per opening, roof opening panel, or rough opening panel in dialogues. And then a build off framing tools, that's different, but let's just look at that particular option in a wall. Let's open up a walls dialog box, and then let's go to the framing, and right here under where'd you go? Framing. Where's framing? Hello. Oh, it's I'm sorry. They moved it. It took me a second. It used to be a separate framing option here. Now we're doing it under wall type. So when you go define a wall type, here's all your framing options now. Okay, what kind of framing you're going to use? Stud spacing, stud width, top plate count, top plate width, bottom plate count, bottom plate width, maximum plate length, 12 foot. Horizontal framing, that's if you're doing purlins on the walls, you can turn that on. So you see it, you'll notice it turns off a lot of these other things.
That maximum plate length is probably to help out with the material list, I imagine.
Exactly.
So you don't
exactly. Yeah. So when you run when you run a cut list,
yeah,
you'll get maximum.
You don't get that just linear feet of 2x6 or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So if you're doing framing in your plans and you want it to be a little bit more specific, you have those options now. So I see that, yeah, it looks like they keep adding a little bit more to this dialogue. So you really got to pay attention when you're clicking on the different elements here as to what these things say down here. All right. So that's kind of cool because I do a lot of 3D framing plans. I like showing framing, or if you're just doing cross sections too. That way you can adjust the walls that you want to show in your cross sections the right way. All right, a couple more. The build off framing button. Yeah, again, it's a silly little thing, but it's there now. So if we go up to our framing tool, where'd it go? We got a little new icon here called build all the framing at once. You don't have to open the dialog and click through the tabs and click build framing, click build framing. So now we can just click this and do it all at once. And I'm just going to say cancel that because I'm going to go to my framing plan. You see, I have some trusses built in certain parts. So when you have trusses in your plan already, and then you build off framing, Chief will not put the framing in that spot. So now it's thinking about it. There's all my framing. So there you go. So it's really easy now. You can do that. Take a look at your framing. Yeah, it looks good. Okay. And then later you can come back and make adjustments to these things all you want. Oh yeah, I wasn't done framing this. So it's a silly little thing, but it's a time saver, versus going the way we always had to do it was, oops, I clicked the wrong button. Come on. So you guys got any favorites that you have found? Used to be we'd have to go here and we'd hit build floor framing, then we'd hit build wall framing, then we'd hit build roof framing.
Build all.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in the remodel game, so I like to select what's being built. I actually really like that feature.
The select.
So like I'll select a wall that's a remodeled wall
Yeah.
and then frame that only.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is really helpful for new construction just to build all, because it was silly that we had to go through every single panel just to update all framing.
Yeah, and I do like that, you can frame floor joists per room now. That's kind of nice. That's a new feature. So anytime you see this framing icon when you've selected something in your plan, that means you can frame whatever you've selected. So that is a nice new feature.
So I didn't have time to troubleshoot it, but I was doing that the other day. I selected a room and I did not have that icon. Why would I not
the
have
framing?
Yep.
Maybe you didn't have it doesn't do the ceiling framing, it does floor framing.
You have to have framing in the structure.
Yeah, maybe the floor was set to concrete.
It had been set to concrete, but I changed it.
That's the only, well, actually, here I've got mine set to concrete and it actually still brought the icon up. What else? Room name? I don't know if room name affects that. If you named it, I don't know, John.
It's a plan that I haven't been working on myself all the time. So
okay, I don't know.
Somebody else did.
You were probably an X13.
No. Yes, I was. I actually was an X13.
Then it wouldn't have been there.
There you go. Thanks, Renee.
So yeah, there you go. Cool. Let's see. Did I have anything else on my list? Let me go back to my 1/4 inch and call outs on layouts. Oh yeah, that little bugger. That's actually my favorite.
That one's cool.
I think we should skip that for today.
That's too, it's still too big of a topic. You could burn a whole show on that.
I know, but we'll just cover it real quick. Okay. Here's the gist of that new feature. And it doesn't, I was looking at this and I was trying to find where it says that down here under layouts. And if it says it here, it's very ambiguous because I just don't see it. Okay. But let me show you guys what we're talking about. I know, Renee, you do one for CAD details too. Let's just cover the elevation ones right now. All right. So when you go in and you take let's go make an elevation of this cabinet right here. All right. I already have one there because I was playing with this. So here's my elevation. All right. So I could add my dimensions and text, turn the color on, do whatever you want to it. That's fine. Oh, I see I got my new handles on. Perfect. So I'm ready to send this to the layout. And the plan, with the layout, you'd had to add your own text. This is the kitchen elevation and this is call out number, blah, blah, blah. All right. Now all we have to do, let's start by, we're going to save the view to start out. If you've written on it, it's going to ask you to save it already, but I'm just going to save the active view. Then I'm going to click on this little tool here or this little tool here. They're both the same. And I'm going to edit this active view. And here's what you have to do. Where it says general name, type in what you want to show up on the layout page. Okay, here is my cabinet elevation. Okay, I'm just typing that so you'll be able to see what's going on. So that's what you have to do. That's going to be your label on the layout now. Then you go to plan view and you can change what's going to show up on the floor plan. Okay. I'm just going to leave it set to E2 for elevation 2 right now. Sometimes a lot of times I'll just use A, B, C, D or something like that. Leave the text below line set to automatic. Okay. If you want the page number to show up in your call out on the floor plan, leave that set to automatic, which is generally that's what you do. Let's see, under label. Yeah. So that's all I have to do in the camera view. I can also do that by clicking on the little call out on the floor plan and opening its dialog box. And it's the same information here. So you can do it either way. You do it while you're in the elevation or you do it on the floor plan. All right, so let's send that view to the layout. Okay, so I'm going to open my layout. And let's go here and open recent. And I had a little layout all set up. Yeah, let's open that. Here, I'll just go to page 2. Oops.
I think this is undocumented and I might be wrong, but I think if you had just clicked to send to layout, it would have sent to to the layout, you had already established a view from this.
You mean while it was open?
Instead of opening your recent layout, I think if you just hit send to layout, it automatically figures out that you were previously linked to a layout, and it sends back to that one.
Well, no, it would have opened that,
Okay.
but this is a brand new camera. This
Yeah.
was the existing camera. Well, I don't know if I go look. I don't know what you're saying. I'm not gonna. Let's just do this.
Yeah, keep going.
Okay, so I'm gonna open that. I'm gonna send that view to the layout. So I don't have to open the view to send it to the layout. I can just click this icon down here, or I could open it and then click the icon up here, send the layout. Either way. So I'm gonna send that to layout. Which page? On page 2. I'm gonna have it a 1/2 inch scale, and I'm gonna just leave it as lines, and then I'm gonna click OK.
Just a comment on that send to layout on the bottom icon there. You can select more than one camera and send them all to layout at the same time too.
Yeah, it'll open the dialog box each time to set your scale and stuff, but it is a big time saver. But you notice here now, here it says, here's my cabinet elevation. That's what I typed in to that box. Okay, and I can highlight the view and grab the thing here and move this around. All right, but watch what happens now. And if you don't see that when you send the view to the layout, what you want to do is open up the layer for that viewport. And you want to make sure you turn on the viewport borders and the viewport. Well, you don't have to have the border turned on, but you have to have the label turned on. Okay, for this to work, I'll turn the borders off. So now I've just got that. So now you have to do one other thing. Open the dialog for the viewport, go to label and tell it to use the call out. Okay, and then you can edit what you want it to say right. Well, here it's picking up the reference from what you typed in that elevation, or you could change it here and type your own words here. All right. So there you go. And so I'm going to do that. Now I'm going to click OK, and look at this. Here's my label. I can move that around. Done. Okay. I don't have to go create those stupid labels every time. So that's really nice. Now, the other thing you could do, so if you want to have a little bit more information, some people like to have the page number below that. That's one of those, give or take things. So there you would turn on, there I would have to do an edit. And then here I would have to put text below line, throw my global layout info. And then you're going to use the layout page label. And then click OK. And now you'll have the page number. So it's on page 2. And if we go back to our plan, you'll see now it says it's elevation 2 on page 2. Now, what's cool about this, you'll never have to mess with this again if you add and move pages or if you move the view around. So if I go put this view on a different page by opening its dialog box, going to the selected line or line style, I could say, put this on page 3. And I click OK. When I go to page 3, now the page number will be 3. And when I look at my floor plan, the page number will be 3 as well. If you move pages around, if you add insert pages, Chief will update those pages automatically. So that's what's really nice about that. So if I'm looking at my layout here, I go to pages. Here's that page. It's labeled wrong, but let's say I want this to be down here now. Okay, page 7. It changes the page number automatically. That's really cool. I don't have to create these stupid little things anymore.
Can you click on that again, and then go to the dialog for it and go to attributes? There was something there that I needed to do the other day. Under label, go to label.
Okay.
Edit call out, and then go to attributes for that.
Okay.
What was it I was messing with? Text above line, text. I don't remember. There was something that I wanted to label somewhere that wasn't doing it, and I had to do it in the attributes.
Okay.
So if you're having trouble with that, just look at the attributes too. It might fix what you're trying to do.
Okay. And the other nice thing is you get a preview of it too.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's new, isn't it? That kind of a preview. All right. So there's some pretty cool things there. That one I love. That's one of my favorite enhancements in Chief that really works well. Maybe next time we'll talk about, Renee, how you do the CAD detail call-outs and those kinds of things. We're going to run short on time.
Yeah, sure.
So, but I would love.
You going to do another wheel of icons now?
No, let's jump into your stuff. Only one of
I feel
those.
like you should be quizzing the group.
Only one of those.
Wake them up.
Just spin it, and then they can comment in the side.
All right.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, there we go. We'll do that. Let's see
who knows
what we come up with. The wheel of icons. So
I love this idea.
I'm going to hide this choice, and then I'm going to hit spin, and let's see what comes up. And what is that? All right, everybody, let's have your answer. I think maybe one of these times we'll start running
That's a good
contests.
one, actually.
That is a lot. Yeah, that is a. I'm not. We can't say what it is. We got to let people tell us what it is.
That's a good one to quiz.
Yeah. This is really a cool little app. You can go to image picker wheel, search for that. It's $25 a year for the thing if you want to do everything with it, and you can use it for lots of things.
Yeah, I'm gonna start doing this on my Facebook group.
Yeah, I bet you will. I knew you would like this. And then you can hide your choice. So you can do lots of things with it. And
Bill got it. We should have prizes for this.
No, is that
style palette? Yeah,
Nice.
Exactly right.
You gotta pin it on the screen so we can see it later.
Yeah. All right, let's move on here. So Renee, I'm going to turn it over.
First. Bill got it first, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he didn't say style palette though. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. We probably should give it to Doug.
Gotta be specific.
That's the standard here.
If this is Wheel of Fortune, he wouldn't have got the prize. Fortunately, it's not the Wheel of Fortune. All right,
I hope you guys
Renee.
are having as much fun as we are with this.
Yeah. What do you got? Look here. I'm not being a pain this time. I actually clicked on the share screen thing. There we go.
All right, I'm going to make it full screen so we can see your screen.
So we're talking about save plan views, right?
Yeah, let's talk about that because last time we talked about plan views, and I like to use default sets. You don't use default sets. I'm not saying you don't like to. You just don't use them. And I was curious why.
Well, and our old school people know we used to call them annotation sets, right?
Yes.
Right.
And here I'll do a demonstration. This is not my plan template. This is Chief's residential plan template. So we know that we have a number of annotations here. Let's see if I need a magnifying glass, right? So we've got all these. We also have a number of different plan views.
Default sets now, though, right?
Yeah, and even though they still show annotations, right? Then I've got my save plan views, and this is your residential template, your out of the box template.
Yep.
So let's just mess it up a little bit and see what happens. That's the only way I could think to explain this. So I can get into the project browser, and in plan views, I can kind of group select. So I'm going to shift select everything and then just delete all these. Okay. So I'm not going to have any plan views, but just one, the working plan view. Okay. That's all I got left. Working plan view. Now I'm going to get into my default sets, and I'm going to click on this little icon, edit default set, and it's going to show all my default sets.
Yep.
And you can't do a shift select here, but I can just start from the bottom, click on delete. What happens if I try to delete all of them? Well, it's not going to let me delete just one.
That one.
You have to have just one.
Okay.
Clicked on OK. There we go. So we have one saved plan view. We have one default set. And can we function with that?
You still have all your old layer sets.
Yeah. So I'm going to drop an electrical symbol in here. We're in the working plan view. What happens if I switch? And this is taking it back, right? All of a sudden we're back into this, just switching layer sets all the time.
Yeah.
So if you've been in the software a lot, you know that this was a workflow that we had before. So now I've got an electrical symbol in here. Let's drop a couple things in here just to see some differences. And then maybe we'll turn on framing, right? We're going to frame for this room. And I don't want to show the display. And I'm just going to say no to everything. So now I've built framing for everything, right? But we don't have any way of seeing that without just changing our layer set. Well, let's make a few save plan views. Let's just switch over to our framing floor layer set. or a framing roof layer set, any one of these. And we haven't built a roof. So that would be helpful. Build a roof. And we can switch over to any number of sets. And from these sets in our toolbars, we have the option to save active view as. And so then now we're establishing a saved plan view. So this can be my electrical plan. So if we're just starting back from the beginning, now we have an electrical plan. Well, what happens when I want to write text and I want it to be on the electrical plans level? Well, by default, it's just going to be on the layer text. And why is that? Well, because we have nothing pointing this save plan view to that set of defaults that we had established where we want it on an electrical text layer. So I'm going to hit cancel. Instead, I'm going to go into my edit active view. And so this is if you want to take the approach of, let me start where I can go bare minimum and then come back and kind of establish what I want. Well, it used to be that we were setting up annotation sets, what are now called default sets, right? So we could be setting up a bunch of default sets. We're establishing which set of defaults we want with our save plan view, except for now save plan view, that's redundant. So in our save plan view window here, we have selected defaults. That selected defaults panel, this is where we can come in and designate things like, I want to set this to electrical text defaults. I want to set this to electrical rich text. I want this to be my electrical dimension defaults. So it's redundant to the default sets, right? And once you recognize that, you realize you just built an electrical plan that functions perfectly well exactly the way that you want it to without needing default sets. We still only have one default set, and you see it switched off of that one default set to using active defaults, and that is pointing to the saved plan views active defaults. This gets really complicated to explain. I'm sure it's complicated to understand. So
it only took me a couple of years to understand what the hell it meant.
Right, exactly. So instead of having the default, our default sets driving our sets of defaults for a view, I'm using my saved plan view to store those defaults instead. Okay. And on top of that, we get a little bit of extra functionality. In our general tab, we can say that we're going to use any floor we want to, which is really powerful. And that's what I'm using in my current plan templates, because I can send one view of electrical to my layout. And in layout, the way it's linked, I can set which floor I'm on. And then I can copy that to another page in layout and then set that it's going to be on the second floor. So we only need one saved plan view for multiple floors now. And that's really a powerful thing.
I'm going to stop you for 1 second. Bill asked, why is your screen unreadable? What I'm going to tell you guys, Renee, are you running 4K?
Yeah.
Okay, so you got really high resolution.
Getting compressed.
So if you guys are running a smaller resolution, make sure you're making this meeting full size if you can on your screen, and that will help. Yeah, I actually have two screens. I keep one screen set to the 1920 by 1080 when I do these kinds of things. Yeah, here you can see it better, but now your icons are.
Yeah, now we're pumped up to the moon now.
yeah, exactly. So, if you could go halfway in between where you were and where you are now, that would probably work.
Yeah. Let's just see if I can get to the default set. That's a little bit better.
Yeah, that'll work for today.
More or less.
Yeah.
So I keep reverting back to the default toolbar just for, the purpose of teaching and stuff. And I notice it doesn't even show our layer sets in our default sets.
It only shows plan views.
Yeah. So it's tricky to even get to this stuff if you don't
know.
It
is. I know. So.
And I mean, that's kind of, that's an indicator from the developer that where we're headed is that we don't need to be paying attention to those layer sets and default sets as much anymore is how I take that.
So how do you handle it? How do you handle it if you are working in a save plan view and you change a layer set? How do you?
So, well, and what would be tell me the purpose of changing that layer set.
Sometimes if I'm working in a save plan view and I want to go find something, I'll go to all layers on or all layers off. kind of thing?
So I have two approaches to that. One is I have a working plan view. I call it working plan view because I'm prepared to mess that plan view up.
Okay.
I'm prepared to turn on any layers I need to turn on or hide any layers I need to, turn off. I have the hide. I wish you had this in your wheel of icons. I have the hide layer icon in my setup, in my working toolbars, so that I can turn a layer on as I need to in my working plan view and then quickly go hide it again. The alternative method to that is you switch your saved plan view to none and then make your changes and then make your layer set changes if you need to go find something. Or you could just be working in none and know that, whatever layer set you're in, it doesn't matter. It's not going to associate with anything. So you can create, a billion layer sets to show whatever you want to show. Right. And so long as you're not modifying one that's linked to a saved plan view that you care about, then you can keep turning off and turning on layers as you need to just get the job done.
We set up layer sets, or I set up layer sets for a client once that we put an L in front of every one that was intended to go to the layout, and he didn't touch those when he was working.
The great method. Yeah, absolutely. It's a good training method.
Mm-hmm.
Just to dive in a little bit more on the power of saved plan views and why we even want them. Why can't we just do it the way we used to do it in X, whatever it was, 11 or something like that, where we didn't have saved plan views, right? Might have been X9. I don't even know anymore.
X1, I think, was the first one with saved plan views. I think.
No, not saved, but saved plan views are newer.
Yeah, those are way newer.
Oh, you're right.
So in our general panel, in our edit active view, and I mean, edit active view only came around when we got saved plan views, and edit active view serves multiple functions based on what we're doing and what we're looking at. What's the classification of the tab we have open? So if we're in a plan view tab, edit active view is going to give us our general panel, our selected defaults panel, and our reference display. And we all know what a reference display is, or we should, so that we can show, another document or another floor or another floor with a different layer set. So we can do that in our reference display panel. But in our general panel, this is where we get a little bit of magic in saved plan views, which is we can designate our floor. We can designate our our pony wall display. That's simple enough. We can also remember zoom and rotation, and that's a big one. So if I click on save, remember zoom and rotation. This is huge if you want to do, one of the reasons I use this, a use case, is if I have a master plan, it's a master remodel plan, but I want to have a different scaled view of my kitchen and I want to remember the zoom. That's a great way of doing that. This saved plan view could be set to a different scale and then remember the zoom level. And by set to a different scale, I mean set to a layer set that has different scaled text and dimensions, right? So your dimensions and your text defaults are driven by, say, a 1/2 inch layer set, where the rest of the plan views are set to use a 1/4 inch layer set. So we can do a zoom level on a bathroom or on a kitchen for those little details where all I have to do is switch to that view and I've got it zoomed. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to check, remember zoom level.
And that you're going to be answering this question right here too, right? Where do you
control the text size for a plot plan? My plot plan texts are always too big. Yes. Well, I like to drive all of my text-based annotations based on text styles. Okay. So if you have that workflow built in to your plan template, you know how to use just the regular text, not rich text. If you're just using regular text, you can switch all text within a saved plan view by switching the text style associated with the layer that text item is on. So if it's a dimension layer or if it's a text layer, you're going to drive that text style for that individual layer on your plot plan saved plan view. It's hard to show this as quickly as I can say it. So, and we only have so much time. So I've got a first floor plan right? And I create it from, it seems like the electrical set. I'm lost without my regular tool parts. Oh man, I might have to just pump this up, pump this down, button size. And this is always good to note. I love throwing this out whenever it comes up. If you've got a global change to the software, it's in preferences. If you've got an individual change to an architectural component, symbol classification or something like that, it's going to be in default settings. So let's just save this so I can come back to it. Sure, Untitled 3. And
By
I have
the way,
to relaunch the program.
X11 was the first one to have plan views.
X11, okay. Yeah, I guessed right, I think.
Yeah, I just
All
went
right,
back and looked.
Let me relaunch this, and I changed my icon sizes, and we can actually see. So here we go. I've got a working, let's see, open recent, Untitled 3. So there we go. We've got electrical layer set associated with the floor plan first floor. Now what happens if I switch to the electrical plan? It's going to prompt me to save. Now this is also another powerful feature of the saved plan view. You can set your saved plan view. If I go into edit active view, down at the bottom here, save options, we have the option to prompt to save, always save, and never save. And so what that means is if as we are working, we change something, like if we have this set to use the first floor and I save this and I press OK and I build another floor, now if I try to switch off electrical plan view to first floor, it's going to see that we registered a change. And why is that? Because all of a sudden when we built a floor, the view changed to that floor that was being built. And so if we switch off of that saved plan view, it wants to ask us if we need to save that change or not. So something that's powerful, and I'm going to say no because I liked the floor that it was associated with. So if I switch back, it's going to be back on that first floor level. So
but if you check never save,
if I check never save, it's always going to keep my established saved plan view. And this is really powerful if you're using a template plan, right? If you're using the save as method, where every new a change and update you've made to your current project, and you want to save that as your default for all projects going forward, we can get into the file menu. And we're going to get into save as templates under the templates section. If people don't know about this, you're going to go into your file menu, templates, submenu, save as template. And what this is going to do is it's going to save my current project as a template plan to be used for every new plan going forward. So really powerful things here. So a couple things, let's backtrack. We've got a saved plan view. We've established it the way that we like to establish it, right? We don't want to mess with it ever again. Now we can say we never want to save this view, no matter how, what manner of messing up this view that we've done. We never want to save it. We don't want to save the new layer set that we incorporated, nothing.
But if you change the existing layer set, it's going to keep those changes.
It's not. It's going to revert back. So if we switch to, let's try it here. I'm going to edit the active view. I'm going to say never save. Let me just zoom in on this. I'm going to click on never save. Okay, and I'm going to switch my layer set to a camera view layer set. Now I'm going to switch my save plan view back to the working plan view. Okay, we've switched.
No, that's not what I'm saying. If you add something to that layer that's part of the save plan view, it won't let you know that you added something to it.
Right.
You added a new layer to it.
Right. We don't have any prompts to never save on layer sets.
Right.
And, kind of cool
that's
feature.
what I'm saying. So if you turn on electrical on your framing plan, it's not going to correct that.
You're stuck with that. Yeah.
Until you go turn it off.
Which is why it's kind of important to have a layer set like the working layer set where you can kind of mess it up as you need to.
Right.
So if I switch back just to make this point, which was not what you were asking, but if I switch back, we see that my electrical plan view was reverted back. And taking this full circle, the reason this is important is because we can have a set of saved plan views that we are allowed to mess up as we need to just to get the job done in terms of designing it, in terms of building the model. You know, we can do that just on the working set. In fact, I even do all my annotations in the working set, and that's what it should be viewed as, something we can mess up, so that when we switch back to something else, we know that it's going to be exactly what we want to display in our print set. So now if we have saved plan views that are established and we can depend on them to look exactly how we want them to without ever having to even touch them, well, now we can have them pre-sent to a layout, and that layout will be the same every next project. It'll already have those views set. And let me just give you an example. So we'll get into my plan templates real quick.
Yeah, make this quick.
Yeah, I know we're running out of time.
Yes, we are.
So here we go. I'm in my working set. I'm going to draw a couple walls. I'm going to pop in some windows just to differentiate this from everything else. And I'm going to mess this up as, you know, any way I want to, because we're in my working set. And then when I open up a layout, oops, get this out of the way. It's hard working with a big screen like this, big icons and everything.
Yeah, I know.
Here we go. I've got a layout, and this is a new layout. This is a brand new layout. And the only thing I need to do to link this to this plan I just started is I need to save this plan. And non-project Stemmy-Berg. And then in my new layout, in tools, in layout, reference plan files, I'm going to relink basically my reference plan files to this job I just created. I just created this on this show just now, right? So now when I relink it, if it's missing a save plan view, it's going to run some errors. But other than that, we should have views that are already pre-sent. And so it should already establish that we've got our electrical plan view. We've got a roof plan view. We've got everything. Cool. We always run out of time on these things. We need like a full show on this.
So did you bring that layout from a template or from just a layout? And
this is a template layout. This is it's just one of my template layouts with views like that are pre-sent. Okay. And the linking's not set up because I used the wrong template plan. But if you have a template plan, so long as all the plan views that exist in this template plan exist in the plan that was pre-sent to layout, you will, when you relink, you'll automatically have your floor plan, your roof plan, your electrical plans already sent to layout. All your elevations are already pre-sent to layout. Half your work's done by the time you even
with the new recentering tool for the viewport. Yeah, it makes it really easy.
Which we could burn another show on.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, or 10. All right. Cool. I learned some things there too. I learned that. Well, I learned a lot about how you think, but the flexibility in the software has grown dramatically, so it's really amazing. All right, we are out of town. We are out of time, so I want to thank everybody for being here. I'll tell you in just 1 second about that. First, if anybody here is going to go to the Coeur d'Alene event in August, at the end of August, first few days of September. Oh, let me show my screen. Okay. I just want you to know that we're going to be there. I've rented some houses there, and I have a couple spaces available. All I'm doing is covering the cost of the houses. We're not doing training classes, anything like that. We've got a bunch of people staying already. It's $585 for 4 nights. If you want to stay with us, give me a call, drop me an email. I've got 2 spots available 2 rooms available that you could get for us, and you come hang out with us for 4 days. So if you want to hang out with the group of us, there's some really cool people that are going to be there. Some very experienced users of Chief. So this the show, the training event is what is their deal? $1,000, something like that, to attend their deal. It's a really good time. I would highly recommend it if you want to really dig into Chief even more. it's the kind of thing we keep going back to, because you learn something every time. You meet new people every time. It's just really a cool event. And that's the whole thing about Chief. You just never stop learning this stuff. So it's pretty amazing. Let's see. The February event is, I'm still I'll put the information page together. Let me see if I can find, what was the name of that place? Oh, here. Let me see if I can find. Give me 1 second. Come on. That's not it. I wasn't planning on necessarily talking about this.
So in other words, you're not ready to release anything yet.
Well, reserve the dates, basically. Yeah. And
the dates are either the 12th through that week or the 19th through that week.
Here, let me go to my calendar real quick and I'll show you the dates. It's these dates right here. So you could check in on the 12th, check out on the 19th, and then check in on the 19th, check out on the 27th. So people stay in the second week, we'll get an extra day for free. It's going to be a 5-day event. We're all going to, the three of us will be there. Robin will be there. We'll have lots of other people there. My whole family's coming in there to do all the cooking and taking care of you guys, and you will have a ball. I'll just say this is going to be about $4,000 for the whole event. Okay, just to give you an idea what the price is going to be
for 1 week.
For 1 week.
1 week, yeah.
Yeah, that's 7 full days. That's 7 nights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 nights. No, 7 nights. All your meals, all the F&B and you'll be fed so well. Remember the saying here is come for the food, stay for the training. And it's very true. You will have a good time.
That and meeting different designers with different, workflows and mindsets and from all over.
Yeah. Yeah. And what was it called again? The Black Stallion, I think it is. If you want to look up the place.
That's the name of one of my computers.
Yeah. So this is where we'll be staying. And if you go to the gallery, you'll see that it is quite a place that we're going to be at. It's the off season in February for the
East Coast.
The Virginia, it's in Virginia, the Outer Banks.
Virginia Beach.
Virginia Beach. Thank you. And so we're not planning on doing anything. We're planning, this is going to be called a total immersion event. You will be there. We're going to talk nothing about Chief Architect and how to increase your design skills and increase the profits in your business for that whole week. So
I'm gonna wager Chief Architect symbols on games of pool.
Do what now?
I'm gonna wager Chief Architect symbols for games of pool.
Oh,
are you a ringer? That's the room right there.
Yeah, I bet you're a ringer too.
So what do you get in return?
So mark your calendar. You go check out blackstallion.com, and this is going to be cool. So I'm pretty excited about this. And yeah, you will leave with a lot more knowledge than you thought your brain could hold. At least that's what I'm hoping. All right, enough of that. Thanks again, everybody, for being here. We'll see you next time at the designer show. Maybe Renee will join us. Maybe Robin will join us next time. And if you guys have any topic ideas, let us know. It's always a challenge to come up with, what we're going to talk about in these things. So cool. Thanks, guys.
Oh, hey, one more thing.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, go to the Chief Experts Facebook page. If you're on Facebook, I always drop free symbols every Friday. So check it out.
So yeah, just look up our group. We have the Chief Architect Training by Chief Experts or something like that group. If you just search Chief Architect Training on Facebook, you'll come up with our group. Go ahead and join our group and join us, or go to my homepage at chiefexperts.com. Let me show my screen again. And if you go to, you can find it real easy here if I type in the right thing. And you scroll down the very bottom of the page, you can join our private group right here. That's the one on Facebook. It's free. You can join in, have a conversation, have some fun, and you'll get Renee's stuff. So, all right. Thanks, everybody. You have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time. Bye.